I wish you all, your mothers and your daughters, to get the same treatment soon. You know, it's interesting. Ever since I started getting a lot of comments like this from Zionists who are actively wishing me and my family harm, I've thought a lot about the hostages on both sides here. I've thought a lot about the videos I've seen and the testimonies I've heard from both sides. And I 1000% would rather be kidnapped by Hamas than the IDF. There's no fucking question in my mind. None. The things I have heard and the things I have seen Israeli soldiers do, no fucking question. But I mean, why are you going to take my word for it? I mean, you're not, right? So why don't we hear directly from them? Let's hear directly from former IDF soldiers. So the clips you're about to see are from the documentary film Tantura. So Tantura reveals what really went on during Israel's War of Independence. We also know this as the Nakba, or the catastrophe. This film looks at testimony by Israeli soldiers who say Israel covered up its war crimes. This is a description of the film you can pause to read, but ultimately the documentary covers what happened during the Tantura battle. While the battle was brief with limited casualties, it's what took place after the Palestinian villagers surrendered. It reveals what the IDF soldiers did to Palestinians. You can read some of that here. What is not included here and won't be in the clips because I'm concerned about guidelines is how they cut off the genitals of Palestinian men and shoved them in their mouths. Oh, and massive fucking trigger warning for what you're about to see.
השתוללו בטנטורה, זה היה משהו נורא. טנטורה היה כפר עשיר, בתים יפים, גרים כמו אירופאים, אתה יודע, וגם אנשים היו לבושות ויפה, וזה באמת היה כפר... אחד אנס שם איזה ילדה בת 16, משהו כזה, אתה מבין? אבל זה מכוער מאוד, היה לנו בחור אחד ונפטר, הוא היה פרא אדם, הוא לקח פשוט מאוד, ורצח אותם בתוך המכלאות. בתוך המכלאות, הם היו במכלאות, אתה יודע, חוטי ברזל כאלה, עגולים כאלה, אספו כל הגברים. הם יושבים שם, כל העם, על הרצפה, ובא מישהו ולוקח תת מקלע ומתחיל זה, מחליף מחסנית, מה אתה חושב זה? אבל אנחנו לא היינו כאלה. הוא היה יוצא דופן הבחור הזה, כן, מה שהוא עשה. והשתיקו את הדבר הזה, והיו חבר'ה שלקחו את הלוויורים ורדפו אחרי חבר'ה ושרפו אותם. זה היה משהו זוועתי, וזה אסור לספר, אני לא אדבר על זה, כי זה יכול להיות סקנדל שלם מהעניין הזה. אני לא רוצה לדבר על זה, וזהו.
3-4 חודשים הראשונים הייתי רוצח.
מה זה אומר?
אני לא לקחתי שבויים. בזמן קרב, אם מישהו ירים ידיים, משהו כזה, לא לקחתי שבויים. זה זעזע אותי עד כדי כך, לא יכלתי לעבור לסדר היום. אם היה עומדת כיתה של זה עם ידיים למעלה, אז באותו יום הייתי רואה אותי, הייתי קוצר את כולם, עד כדי כך.
כמה אתה חושב אנשים הרגת ככה?
לא ספרתי. אני לא יכול לדעת בחיי. היה לי מקלע עם 250 כדורים. תראה, יריתי, נלחמתי כולם. אני לא יכול לספור.
Beyond horrendous, but a couple of things I want to point out. So in the original translation that I saw, which I couldn't find a good version of online to share with you, there was some discrepancies in the translations. There were 2 spots where I noticed differences, and I just want to point them out so that we're being very transparent here because I don't speak the language. So the first soldier in this clip refers to Palestinians being put in cages. In the original clip that I saw, they called it an enclosure that was surrounded with like barbed wire. So cages versus enclosures. The second discrepancy I noticed was in the second soldier saying that if children raised their hands, he would shoot them, right, in this clip. And then in the original version, he said if a squad raised their hands, he would shoot them all. So school children versus squad. The reason I point that out is because I believe in transparency and I believe in sharing the truth. And it is unnecessary to use additional inflammatory language here to describe these horrific acts. These acts are horrific on their own. And they're not unique. There are hundreds of stories just like this one, just from 1947 and 1948. And hundreds more have taken place over the last 75 years. So none of this started on October 7th. When you kick and punch and degrade and humiliate and kill people for decade after decade after decade, one day they will hit you back. Free Palestine.